I was about 12 years old when this happened. My mom had to leave town for a few days, and she trusted me to stay home alone. It wasn't a big deal. We lived close to family, and she said if anything happened, she'd just call the house phone. No cell phone, just the landline. Before she left, she told me exactly when she'd be back. I remember counting down the days. Finally, the day came. It was a quiet afternoon, too quiet. I was upstairs when I suddenly heard it. A knock at the front door. Then I heard her voice. "Hey, I'm home." My stomach dropped for a second, but I don't know why. Something felt off. Before I could even react, my dog, who absolutely loved my mom, bolted downstairs, tail wagging like crazy. I heard her paws hit the hardwood floor, then the front door, and then silence. A second later, she came sprinting back up the stairs, not excited, terrified. She ran straight past me and hid. I had never seen her act like that before. Then the knocking came again. Louder this time. "Open the door!" It sounded exactly like my mom. Same voice, same tone. But I didn't move. I couldn't. Every instinct told me something was wrong. Then suddenly, the phone rang. The knocking stopped instantly. I just stood there for a moment, staring at the stairs, before slowly picking it up. "Hello?" It was my mom. Calm, normal. "Hey, I'm really sorry, but I have to stay one more day. I'll be home tomorrow." I couldn't speak. I just stared at the front door, while my dog quietly whimpered behind me. Because whatever was outside knew my name and sounded exactly like her. I don't smoke, and I don't have many friends who do, but I keep a few ashtrays at home just in case. About a year ago, I was looking for some papers and found one of those ashtrays in a cupboard. It was completely empty and pretty clean. I was busy that day, so instead of putting it back, I left it on the kitchen table and went out to do some repair work in the garage. About an hour later, I came back inside. The ashtray was still sitting on the kitchen table, but now it was filled with cigarette ash. No cigarette butts, just ash. There was also a faint smell of cigarette smoke in the house. Not nearly as strong as you'd expect from that amount of ash, but definitely noticeable. I know for a fact the ashtray was empty and clean when I put it there. I grabbed a kitchen knife and carefully checked the entire house. No one was there. All the doors and windows were locked. I checked again, just to be sure. Nothing was missing. No cash, no valuables. Everything was exactly where it should have been. I called on my friends, even the ones who don't smoke, and asked if any of them had stopped by. Every single one said no. I also checked the locks for any signs of tampering, but there was nothing. Just to be safe, I changed all the locks anyway. I had trouble sleeping for days after that. I even collected the ash and stored it in a small bag. I still keep it in a drawer, even though I doubt it will ever prove anything. Then the next day, something even stranger happened. A murder took place in my neighborhood. A mentally disturbed girl with a history of drug abuse stabbed a convenience store worker to death after an argument over a pack of cigarettes. It's probably unrelated, but sometimes I can't help but wonder. And just to be clear, I don't keep spare keys hidden outside or anything like that. There's an old bridge in my town. One of those places everyone grows up hearing about. The story goes that a young girl drowned in the river beneath it years ago. And if you showed up at just the right time, you can still hear her scream. When my friends and I were in high school, we didn't have much to do. Small town, about 6,000 people, southern Illinois. If you wanted excitement, you had to go looking for it. So one night around 3 a.m., we decided to check it out. We parked nearby and made our way down the slope beneath the bridge. It was colder down there, quieter. The kind of silence that makes your ears ring. We waited. 10 minutes passed, then 20. Nothing. We started getting restless, joking around, trying to scare each other, calling the whole thing fake. It felt like just another dumb late night idea. And then, it happened. A scream. High-pitched, sharp, absolutely blood-curdling. It didn't sound human. It wasn't just one scream either. It kept going. Echoing through the trees, bouncing under the bridge, stretching on far longer than it should have. Panic hit instantly. Me and one of my friends took off running back toward the cars. We had to go up the hill to get out from under the bridge, and we were sprinting as fast as we could. Then, halfway up, we both stopped, at the exact same time, dead still. I never asked him what he saw, because I saw it too. A girl, moving on all fours, running straight into the woods. The screaming didn't stop, not even when we got back to the cars, not even when we were driving away. I don't think about that night much. It still gives me chills, and most people don't believe it anyway, but I know what I saw. And strangely enough, it didn't make me stop believing. If anything, it did the opposite. Because experiencing something like that, something you can't explain, it changes you. It makes you wonder if there really is something after all this. And in a weird way, I thought I kind of found it comforting. I've actually gone back since then, and I'm planning to go again soon, with people who've never been there before. Because whatever's under that bridge, it's still there. I'm a freshman in college now, but this happened years ago when I was in 8th grade, and it's something I still think about late at night. One evening, my mom, my 2 sisters, and I were coming home from the dollar store. We parked in the driveway and started unloading groceries from the trunk. My sisters went inside first, while my mom and I stayed behind to get the rest. It was around 8 or 9 p.m. in late November. Our house sits on a hill, deep down some back roads to the woods. Our front yard is a downhill slope with a lot of open space. There are only a few trees scattered around, and on the other side of the driveway are dense woods. The driveway itself is very long. As my mom and I carried the last groceries toward the porch, we heard leaves crunching. At first, we thought it was a deer. Its head was hidden behind a tree, and it was dark outside. But then, it took a few steps backward, moving into the light from our front porch. That's when we realized it wasn't a deer. The thing was completely pale and naked, extremely thin and standing on all fours. It didn't have a face. Its head looked like a mannequin. Its body, I can only describe it as looking like a Demogorgon from Stranger Things. It turned its head toward us. Then it stood up on its hind legs. It ran across the yard, over the driveway, and into the woods. The entire time it stayed upright. It was freakishly tall, so tall that when it crossed the tree line, the tops of the trees shook as it passed. My mom and I ran inside and shut the door. Once inside, we just stared at each other. I asked her, "Did you see that too?" She asked, "What did you see?" I told her. She said she had seen the same thing. We locked the doors and went to bed. The next morning, my mom went back outside to the area where I had ran across the driveway. That's when she saw the prints. At first, they looked like deer tracks, but there were long sliding marks between them. And as the tracks continued, the hoof-like prints slowly turned into something closer to paws. My mom stopped following them after that. Over the next few days, strange things continued at night. One time we had the sliding glass door open that leads to the back porch. Our dogs were standing there, growling harshly. My mom and I were trying to figure out what was upsetting them when we heard it. A loud, distant scream, like a howl and a cry mixed together. We rushed the dogs inside and locked the door. Nothing else happened after that, and eventually moved to another city for unrelated reasons. But whatever that thing was I saw in the yard that night, whatever left those prints, I hope more than anything that I never come close to it again. My mom and I had just moved to a tiny rural town in Northern California, about 1,700 people total. The nearest town was 5 miles away, no car, and the only bus came once a day. It was the kind of place where if you needed something, you walked. Luckily, we didn't mind walking, so one day we decided to take the trip into town. I needed a few things from the store, and we figured we'd grab dinner while we were there. The walk-in was easy. It was still light out and everything felt normal. We shopped, ate at a small local restaurant, and by the time we started heading back, the sun was already setting. The only way home was along the highway. No sidewalks, no streetlights, nothing. Just us and the occasional car passing by. About halfway home, it was completely dark. The kind of darkness where you can barely see your own hands. But honestly, I didn't feel scared. We kept talking, laughing. It felt safe in a strange way. At one point, because there was no sidewalk, we walked in a line. I was in front, and my mom was a few steps behind me. Just the two of us. Or at least, that's what we thought. About a third of the way home, a car pulled up beside us. It was two kids from a nearby house. They rolled the window down and asked if we wanted a ride. We were tired, it was getting cold, so we said yes. As soon as we got in the car, the boy turned and asked,
"So, what about your dad? Doesn't he want a ride too?"
My mom and I just looked at each other, confused. The girl driving glanced at us through the mirror and said,
"Yeah, your dad. Isn't he coming?"
I felt a knot in my stomach. I don't have a dad, I said. It's just me and my mom. The car went quiet. The two siblings looked at each other, and their expressions changed instantly. Serious, uneasy. Then the girl asked slowly,
"Then who's been walking with you?"
My heart started pounding. We told them no one had been with us. It had just been the two of us the entire time, but they shook their heads. They said when they drove past earlier, they saw 3 people. A tall man walking behind my mom, and me out in the front. They said the man looked completely normal, like he belonged with us, like he was part of the conversation, even smiling. And when they drove back just now, they said he was still there, standing right behind my mom. That's why they stopped. That's why they asked about our dad, because as far as they could see, he had been walking with us the entire time. My mom and I just sat there, frozen, because we both knew no one had been behind us. We had just moved from the city. We were used to watching our surroundings. We kept checking behind us the whole walk, and the ground was covered in dry leaves. If someone had been that close, we would have heard every step. The boy grabbed a flashlight and got out the car, scanning the road, the trees, anywhere someone could have gone. There was nothing. No movement, no sound, no place for anyone to hide. He got back in the car, and the rest of the drive home, no one said a word. If these stories gave you chills, make sure to like and subscribe for more. And don't forget, sometimes the scariest things are real.